Hello, I'm Dr. Catherine Kirby, and I've been doing a series of talks on sexual abuse. And tonight, I would like to talk about how to teach children how to protect themselves. Suppose there was a lion roaming the neighborhood. Maybe there was one lion for every 4 children, which fits the statistics. And you never told your child. You just sent them out to play and they were totally unaware. Children are naive and that makes them very beautiful. Their innocence. Who doesn't admire childhood innocence? But it's our job as adults to protect our children. When I was in the family practice residency program, as I did physicals on little children and even teenagers, and now I realize I should have been asking adults about these questions about good touch and bad touch. That can be murky, but good touch is when it's appropriate for someone to see your privates or touch them. Maybe your mother is helping you get a bath. You're 3 years old, you're a toddler. Maybe the doctor has to do an examination. And then there's bad touch, when people shouldn't be touching you, shouldn't look at you. Around age 3, children start to get self-conscious. And I remember one little boy was in the office for a physical and he was not going to pull down his underwear or let us for me to do an exam. And it took some talking and some finagling. His mother told him when they got home, he said, "Why did the doctor have to look?" And she said, "Well, she has to make sure that you don't have a hernia." Now, of course, he had no idea what that was. But later, when he walked in on his father standing at the toilet urinating, he said to his mom, "Boy, Dad sure has a big hernia." And we both laughed at that. Children are naturally curious about their bodies, but we need to teach them that there are bad people out there. That can be really tough. I remember when I was in 2nd grade, my friend Mel and I used to ride our bikes and we would take our drawing tablets and we would sketch and use pastels, and we had this favorite spot that was off the road and there was a covered bridge. Well, my grandmother, meaning well, she called me Kippy. "Oh, Kippy, you shouldn't do that. There are bad people. There was a man that cut up children." What? Without any really further information on that, I had the most wicked heinous dream of my life about that, and it involved my grandmother, and it's so horrendous I won't even tell you. It's not making children aware that evil's out there. I mean, children see cartoons and movies, and there are some pretty scary villains. They need to know how to first be aware there's danger, and number 2, how to protect themselves, how to report things to an adult. Okay, so I would ask children about good touch and bad touch. And I found out some things. And also in court, I found out that children aren't protected. This was a book that I put in the mainstream area, the waiting room, where mothers would bring their children. And a few days later, I went looking for it and I found it tucked away on a shelf in a closet. Now, if healthcare professionals aren't comfortable helping children, well, then children have no advocate. This is a book called No, the Little Seal, a story for very young children that tells about sexual abuse. And this was actually a Please Read to Me book. And it talks about a little seal who spends some days and some time alone with his uncle. And his uncle starts touching him in places that make him uncomfortable and told him not to tell anyone. Books like this actually help children. The whole be afraid of strangers doesn't work because many times children are abused by people they know. Teaching children about good touch and bad touch is helpful, and telling them that people that do bad things to children often like to keep children quiet. So you can teach children to be brave, or let's have a pact that if anything ever happens, you're gonna be brave. You could even have code words for it. And I remember one of the criminal shows I watched. The head of the department was in danger, and his family was in danger, and he taught his little boy how to hide if danger came, and they had a little password for it. That makes kids brave. You don't want to scare them like my grandmother did. You don't want to make them afraid to go out, but you want to teach them respect for their bodies and warning signs, how people can be nice to you when they're actually planning to be bad. Stories like Pinocchio, how Pinocchio went out in the world and he wasn't ready. He wasn't prepared for sly characters. Teaching our children about this. You know, when you talk about pornography, it's proven that parents aren't talking to their kids about pornography. When they interviewed children, say preteen, teen, 0 said that their parents had warned them about pornography or told them what to do. So start today. You love your child, your grandchildren. You want them to be safe. You can tell them stories. Now, there's also a problem if you're a grandparent and your child isn't comfortable, then they don't want you as a grandparent to tell their children either. Children around 3, 4, 5, they're into sensationalism. And I remember one time we had a cat, we got a stray cat, and it was in heat. And it was making horrible noises. And cats don't go out of heat until that instinct is satisfied. And my little twin grandsons wanted to know, what's going on? What does it mean? They would overhear us talking. What's a tomcat? What will happen if you put the cat out? And my daughter would give me these looks like, Mom, no. I don't want my child to be the one going to kindergarten and telling the other children. So it does require tact. And I remember one time my granddaughter and I were watching a movie, and I thought, this is a family movie. This is safe. It was about a girl whose brother died, and she wanted to replace him as the hero on the football team. And I got a call from the hospital that I needed to sign a death certificate. And I said to my granddaughter, who was probably about 8, 9, I'll be right back, like 5 minutes. And I let the movie run. What I didn't know is because the girl in the movie isn't getting validated by her father, she begins to act out. And she's in a car with a boy, and her father comes pounding on the car windows. My granddaughter wanted to know, Grandma, what was going to happen in that car? And I couldn't tell her because I didn't have my daughter's blessing to tell her. So I hope I raised some issues in your heart. I hope I helped you. Please don't let your children be unprotected. Please, I'll talk to you again later about this. I've given you some food for thought. And take care and shine, baby, shine.